Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. Hope you enjoy. Story number 1. Humans are Liars. Written by Kaiser5243. Don't worry, I'll be fine. I couldn't help but notice how the glass in my friend's furry blue hands trembled as he took a drink and set the glass back on the bar. That's what he told us right before he went in. We believed him too. That's the worst part. The reactor was crashing, and if we couldn't find a way to stop it, we all would have died. But the room was full of enough radiation to kill any of us within seconds. The human wasn't worried, though. He just grabbed an earpiece and told the engineer to walk him through it. We explained the danger, but he insisted it wasn't enough to kill him, and we've all heard the stories. Humans can't die from something like that. They lose limbs and vital organs and just continue on. They live in extreme cold and heat and eat things that would melt the fur right off my skin. We believe those stories so firmly that not one person on board was even considering he wouldn't be fine. So we opened the door and let him in to the reactor. And you know what? He was fine. He spent over 10 minutes in a room full of lethal radiation and calmly followed the engineer's instructions, stopping the meltdown, then just walking right back out with a smile. He just played it off like it was just another part of his duty when we tried to thank him, and for the next few days, things went on like it never happened. Then, he missed his shift. He claimed that it was his stomach bug, and he would be back to work before we knew it. And we owed him too much to question it, so we told him to take the whole week off, which he did. Then, just as he said, he was right back to it. Then one day, he just collapsed. He just kept insisting that he was fine, just tired, as we rushed him to the med deck, right up until these results came back. Our doctors have never seen tumors that fast or in such high number, but the human didn't seem surprised. He knew what the scans would say. He knew what the radiation exposure has done to him. He just didn't want us to worry. We knew we couldn't save him, but we had to try. He saved over 200 of us. Our medical teams worked in shifts administering medicine and fluids, checking his vitals every half an hour, and doing what we could to reduce his pain. And he still insisted he would be fine. He wasn't, though. But he lived much longer than we thought. Pray, you never watch a human die. It's almost like they're not meant to. Radiation that would have killed me in a few seconds took 2 months to kill our human. Every day was worse. First, his hair fell out in chunks and he began losing weight. He began vomiting constantly and had to be fed intravenously. Unable to stand without assistance, turned into not even being able to lift his head from the pillow. We watched our friend, our savior, wither before our eyes in that damn hospital bed. He couldn't even be considered a ghost of what he once was. I'm ashamed to say that I couldn't bring myself to visit him the last few weeks. I couldn't stomach looking at the thing my friend had become. The worst part is right up until the last minute. He insisted that we worried too much and that he would be fine. I sat in stunned silence across from my shaking friend. He took a deep breath and wiped tears from his eyes. He took a deep calming breath and stared directly into my eyes, his face filled with a mixture of sorrow and rage. He lied, though. He wasn't fine. He died 3 days before we made it back. The humans are liars. They're not invincible. They just want us to think so. They do die, but they die slowly. That man endured more suffering in those months than I will throughout my whole life. And he knew before he went in that room how it would end. But he still looked us right in the face and told us that he would be okay. I couldn't help but think back on this conversation as I watched the two humans gather their weapons. The pirates had breached the hull and would be boarding any second, but the humans wore smiles on their faces. "You all stay here and we'll go deal with our new friends. Everyone is going to be okay. We can handle this, no problem." The effect was the same as the doors closed behind them. Everyone else was calm and content, believing in the stories of human prowess, and a cheer went up as the pirate ship detached and ran from us 20 minutes later. The confusion didn't begin until the scan showed no life forms on the ship beside the ones in this room. The theory that they had been taken prisoner was quickly dismissed, and everyone assumed that the scanner must be broken in the attack. But I knew better. Humans are liars, after all. And I am forever grateful. End of story. Story number 2. None Dare Fire. Written by Mercury the Dealer. The galaxy is dangerous. Civil wars, betrayals, alliances, and competition for resources all make sure that combat, be it political or military, is a constant. Except on that day. For on that day, none dare fire. On that day, the trenches and bunkers stay quiet. No soldiers die by the hands of others. Weapon manufacturers do not display their newest invention. Gangs leave the citizens alone. Cartels sign ceasefires with the authorities and each other. None dare fire. Every person on every planet waits in silence. Then they come. Millions upon millions of gigantic ships approach the planets. Men, women, and children watch in awe as each ship approaches their planet and releases their payload. Snow. Deserts become beautiful mixes of yellow and white. Plains become great canvases for children to create their snow angels. Grandparents watch the young play while reminiscing of their youth. Families talk and laugh while watching the snowflakes fall. Soldiers leave the protection of the bunkers and tanks to walk freely on what was once the battlefield. Enemies play cards as they drink their nation's version of a hot winter beverage, while the great ships move around, carrying the snow with them. Religious fanatics and cynical non-believers share drinking songs while they give themselves liver spots. The tension is unbearable. At any moment, anything could go wrong. It's a thin peace, but it is peace. The next day, there is only war. Ships explode, planets burn, soldiers are mangled to the point death would be a blessing for them. But the memory lives. The memory of those great ships, their artificial snow. The memory of the peace. The memory of when they and the entire galaxy lifted their glasses towards the symbol of a pale blue planet and yelled as loud as they could, "Merry Christmas!" End of story. Story number 3. The Cost of Durability. Written by Dyson Sphere 02. Humans were universally acknowledged as a death-world species. The density of the collagen in their tissues, to the fact that almost every kind of tissue that makes their bodies can store energy. Not to mention their high regenerative potential and adrenal glands. This physical durability also results in a certain sense of mental resistance. If you heal from a broken bone or a torn ligament in a few months, there would be no reason for you to be traumatized to the event. If you could lose 40% of your blood by volume, then little nicks and cuts won't freak you out. But let's say that you were a Raxian, an insectoid-type race with a decently durable exoskeleton. Even the smallest cut or crack in their exoskeleton would require medical attention, lest you die of exsanguination, or the thormus, and bipedal furry thing that is about 6 to 7 feet tall on average. The thormus's lack of tissue durability compared to their bone strength means that the energy needed to break a bone is well enough energy to completely and utterly ruin the tissue around the fracture. This means that even the cleanest break will commonly result in amputation. This is why when PFC Kellogg tripped and fell down a flight of stairs in 80 pounds of gear, resulting in both a green stick and compound fracture, had the unintentional fainting of 10 station members. From their perspective, they just witnessed a young man lose both of their arms in a singular unfortunate accident. And this was considered a day-to-day accident. In the more severe cases, like with GTC 1774 incident, where a small Starship-to-surface transporter suffered from structural failure in one of its atmospheric ailerons, resulting in a 20-man transporter crashing roughly 4 miles from a major road. Its location allowed for a local news team to arrive on site before the planetary law enforcement could set up a cordon. The result of this would be the now infamous Undead Man video. As the sole survivor of the crash, a human engineer proceeded to stumble out of the destroyed craft with a foot clearly in the wrong orientation and holding his own small intestines in his hand, was broadcast for the entire planet to see. End of story. I would quickly like to thank the Tier 5 members, Marky, Cam Maxwell, Caspar Arnolds, Oakfield, Lord Azrakul, and It's Difficult to Pronounce. Thank you very much.